tonight, 7 o'clock Central, at InfoWarsNews.com. So here we are at the precipice, and now it's confirmed. It's another acceleration, another throwing down of the gauntlet that top Israeli generals in the major newspapers, including the New York Times, Fox News, have come out and said, yeah, we're the ones blowing up your missile bases. We're the ones killing your scientists, and we're going to expand it. And the newspapers are running with the headline, Covert War on Iran, Prudent Strategy. New York Times, a prudent strategy. I'm not endorsing assassinating people and blowing stuff up, but I guess it is better than bombing hundreds of sites and having a full-bore war. But what are you going to do when Iran starts blowing up stuff in Israel? Oh, my gosh, Iran killed an Israeli general or bombed an Israeli base. I mean, the media is going to freak out and say that's wrong. In fact, I've seen the media here say, it's terrible, China is torturing people, or it's terrible, Syria may have tortured people. Well, yeah, it's wrong if Syria is torturing people, but how is it good when our government tortures, but then the other guys torture and it's bad? It's okay when we torture, it's bad when they torture. I mean, everybody knew when North Vietnam would torture our troops, we'd say, well, you can't believe anything they say in a confession, because he may have been tortured. In fact, just this week, that U.S. Marine who's Iranian that they've got and say is spying and trying to blow stuff up or whatever. I don't know if it's true, but stuff's getting blown up over there. And the media is saying, well, it's a mullah court, so it's not a real court. Well, it's a public court. I'm not saying it's kangaroo compared to our courts probably. But, I mean, our government's saying we won't even have a court. You won't even get a trial. You'll just disappear and no one will even know we arrested you. I mean, that's 4 or 5 levels of magnitude above Iranian tyranny. That's beyond what China does on paper. That's beyond, but there's still this lecturing, though, of, oh, my gosh, they're saying after a trial, they're going to execute him. Of course, we're just going to execute you without a trial, but that's reasonable. See, when North Korea was shooting down our aircraft and torturing our fighter pilots, our fighter bomber pilots, I mean, it was terrible that they were being tortured. And, of course, there's the famous cases of them blinking, Morse code, torture. Remember those famous cases from the Korean War? Those were true stories. They would get up there, and under serious torture, they knew Morse code, and people were like, what's that blinking he's doing? It's Morse code. Torture. The bad guys torture. The good guys don't torture. Torture has been proven to not be good for real intel. It's good to get fake confessions. It's good to scare people. It's good to say, okay, we're going to torture you. And there's people that are tough enough, the Pentagon admits this, that you can torture them and they won't do what you want, that you cannot break them. So you know what they do? And they did this with KSM. They brought his wife and little kids in. He started, and they said, we're going to torture him. We're going to kill him. And he started crying. And our government bragged about this, crying and said, I'll say whatever you want. And he confessed. They tortured him, by the way, for 5 years before he broke. And they said, okay, bring his kids in. Boom, instantly broke. One of them was like 6 years old or something. He started bawling. He said, I'll say whatever you want. And then he confessed to bombing buildings that hadn't been built until after he was arrested, after he was captured. You cannot become the devil to defeat the devil. You cannot put on the ring of Mordor to defeat Sauron. It doesn't work that way. You don't give up your humanity to defend humanity. You don't do it. And that's the thing about lying. Sure, you can put out decoys so the enemy fires at those and not you, but that's as far as deception goes before it becomes immoral. Camouflage, to make your tank look like the jungle behind it, that is a lie. But when you start staging terror attacks, which is in Army manuals, to blame your enemies, and the argument is, well, our enemies do it. Yeah, you bet the Soviets would commit atrocities and blame it on U.S.-backed forces. So now we do that? You bet we did. They did a fictional account of really a quasi-true story. It's a composite in The Quiet American, the Graham Greene movie. It's off the novel. Go rent that movie. Go watch that about Indochina when the French were pulling out. The CIA blowing up markets to blame it on the communists. They need those atrocities. You do not become the devil to defeat the devil. It does not work. You become what you're fighting and then some. And that's what we've done. Okay, I'm going to come back and get the number out and then get into more news. We got Mike Adams coming up. I briefly want to just remind listeners and viewers, we are still running the 15-day free trial where you can sign up at prisonplanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com, or the links are all over InfoWars.com, and get all of my films. My book, Paul Watson's book, the higher quality audio-video podcast of both shows, the nightly news, expanded extras, a bunch of other films have been authorized to post there for 15 cents a day once if you decide to still be a member. Prisonplanet.tv, and then you're funding true alternative media, becoming the real media. That is becoming the dominant media that is seen as the go-to media. It's happening. So it's 15 cents a day, $5.95 a month, but you can still get that yearly special. We've extended it through. You pay for 6.7 months, you get 5.3 months free right now at prisonplanet.tv. You can do that special or do a 15-day free trial or sign up for the monthly. Whatever, you can sign up right away or do the 15-day free trial. And don't forget, with your username and passcode, with friends and family, you can have 6 people logged on with the same username and passcode. So it's really 6 memberships for the price of 1. Prisonplanet.tv. And thanks to your support, we're now getting ready to hire the more reporters, more video editors, more crew so we can cover more and reach more people. We are really doing something special here thanks to all of you who are part of our team and part of our family. All right, my friends, we are now into hour number 2. We've got an expose of Newt Gingrich and his occultic activities coming up with the amazing researcher and filmmaker Luke Rudkowski popping in the third hour. We've got Mike Adams, the health ranger, with big breaking news coming up. But I want to take some of your calls ahead of that. The toll-free number to join us here is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. But the Iran situation has ratcheted up another gear. And there's really only one more gear now, and that's open major military against military conflict. But the war is on. It's now being called a war, no longer even a covert war by the New York Times, Fox News. So, again, I have to always toot my horn just to counter all the lies. Because the system doesn't want us to admit this is hurtling into a hot war and is already a covert, asymmetrical war. I mean, I remember up till the day they attacked Iraq, the disinfo was saying Alex Jones is full of baloney. There's not going to be a war with Iraq. That way, anti-war groups could never get activated because they would always just say, yes, we're getting ready for war, but we're not, kooks. And you're like, that doesn't make sense. It's just a psych warfare tactic where, no, we're not going to have war. And you're like, but you just said we are. Oh, see, it's a mind game. Oh. So it makes it all about arguing that they are getting ready for war. Instead of, yeah, they're going to have war, let's not have it. It's like, oh, well, we're not really sure if we are. They never let it become cut and dry, even though it's already cut and dry. So I told you 5 years ago and showed you the White House orders for covert war to be launched and terror attacks inside Iran using al-Qaeda groups and one Kurdish group. That's now all confirmed. But now the point is it's gone from an attack every month or so to every day. There's stuff going on. And so Iran didn't want to look weak. They realize their whole country now knows they're being attacked. Before they'd say, oh, that bridge just blew up on accident. Oh, that refinery just blew up. Oh, there was a car bomb, but we don't know who did it. Oh, somebody bombed that base and killed those generals, but we're not sure. Yeah, now it's like, yeah, Israel and the U.S. are doing this. Remember, when you hear Israel and the U.S., that doesn't mean all the Israelis, all the people in America. That is the special interests that want war, that want the political distraction. And so we hear all of this, and this isn't like a football game going to war. Real troops die. Real troops breathe depleted uranium. Real troops come home and, commit suicide because they're so depressed over killing innocent people. You see, the troops that are psychopathic and evil, they get hired to be police on record. That's who they try to recruit. They hire some good military as police as well that slip through. But those that have a soul get really screwed up by it. And they go crazy. They commit suicide. And, you know, they knew from World War I, don't make somebody serve more than 1 tour in serious combat. There are people who've served, I looked it up, 9 tours. 9. And, of course, it was well known that it was wrong to make people serve all these tours. So I remember in 2005, 6, 7 getting callers going, "Nobody serving 3 or 4 tours, liar." And I'd be like, "Are you in the military?" "No, but it's wrong to make them serve that many tours. I know that because my brother was in Vietnam." "You're a liar." Now it's like, "Yeah, they do serve 6, 7, 8 tours." "Yeah? What's wrong with that?" Well, you're finding out what's wrong. Record. It's 7 times the previous per capita record of suicide. You care about the troops? I mean, that's like tires are rated to drive 50,000 miles, and you drive 300,000 miles on tires, and you wonder why they all blow out on you. They're putting 300,000 miles on 50,000-mile tires. And there are some people that can handle it and some people that can deal with it. This has been studied for thousands of years, but it's been codified in the last 100 or so. If it's a true moral cause, defending your family, men can fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. But if there's any moral question, most people that do immoral things self-destruct because humans are designed to be part of a greater tribe and aren't designed to do bad things. When we do bad things, our own body, our own psyche turns against us, okay? It's a self-destruct switch. All right, Mike Adams, with his big editorial piece out, 10 reasons liberals and progressives should vote for Ron Paul, is going to be joining us on that subject. And a report I didn't get to yesterday, guys. That's why I originally wanted to get Adams on, but he couldn't come on yesterday. He had an article on Natural News linking to some the documents where Monsanto, it's now come out, what we already knew, actively owns the ambassadors internationally that are twisting arms and giving countries other political deals and money if they let GMO in. It's something like Monsanto controls U.S. ambassadors and diplomats. I want to raise that with him as well. I've also got coming up later, punished for not crying. Thousands of North Koreans face labor camps for not being upset enough about death of Kim Jong-il. And the North Korean government admits, they had millions of the citizens come out and worship and fake cry for hours. And I pointed out that if you didn't fake cry for the little demonic dictator, who knows when he really even died? And this is a pack of liars. Why believe anything they say? He might be still alive. I mean, who knows? That they're sent to forced labor camps. Because there's a tiny inner party that just sits around on their hind end in fancy uniforms all day and drives like 50-year-old automobiles and the whole place is rotting and falling down, but they don't care. They get to strut around and act powerful and tough. The government can always find scum that just wants to run around lording over people. And then that's what tyrannies are. And the whole society rots. And the majority of the population is raised in barnyards. They live in sheds. This has even come out in the Wall Street Journal. Has had people that got back out of the country break it down. And they raise them in barnyards. And then the doctors check the women when they're ready to be fertile. They put them in pens together, and then they send the males and females to different